Welcome to the Ask for a Skinny podcast with a guest. I'm proud to present Gull Khan from London, United Kingdom. Gull is a former banking and finance lawyer who left her corporate job to pursue her passion and become a money mind expert and healer. She helps entrepreneurs break free from their limiting beliefs about money so that they can live a life of unlimited abundance. Gull successfully overcame her battle with dyslexia and then completed her law degree at Queen Mary University of London. As a lawyer, she has worked for some of the top international law firms. Gull is a trained intuitive life coach and certified emotional freedom technique expert with a special focus on money in each discipline. Gull has helped hundreds of men and women to heal their money stories and to manifest abundance. She's also an international best-selling author. Gull, please tell us more about yourself. What is your story?
Hi, Peter. It's such a privilege to be here. Thank you so much for having me. So I am a typical example of God's story. I went from riches to rags, to riches to rags, to riches again. So but every part of my journey has led me to become the person that I need to be here today. So I'm grateful for all the ups and all the downs and everything that's led me to be here talking to you today.
Really nice. So as an expert in money and healing, I would like to touch the subject that everyone is talking about. The recession, the interest rates that are rising, harder to get new loans, harder to start a business. What do you think about it? How should business people go about all this stuff that are happening around us?
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is recession. So whether the recession is there or not, that's up for debate. But I think more people agree the fact there's going to be a recession very, very soon. But I don't think people should be afraid of recession. Recession just means different opportunities. That's it. Okay. Every climate creates opportunities. And if you look back in history, recession creates more millionaires, billions than any other area. Why? Because during times of recession, people are in fear mode. People are afraid to move ahead. They think, oh, it's harder to start business. It is harder to get a loan. It's harder to do X, Y, and Z. And the fact is, that's not the case. Because more people are afraid to move forward, if you have a strength if you have a strong mindset, you can capitalize on all the opportunities that come your way, including the housing market, if you have some savings. Or you can be, even if you don't have money, there are creative, I never say you need money. You just need to have a creative mind because you can always get money. There is always ways to obtain the resources needed to create whatever you want to create, as long as you have the mindset. So with the rising possibility of recession ahead of us, it shouldn't put you into fear mode. If anything, it should get you excited, thinking, okay, 95% of the world is going to become in fear mode. They won't be taking action, which means there's less competition available for you. You can move ahead and you can create that business, that new, or even grow your business, because a lot of people will not be taking chances, won't be marketing, won't be doing other things that you need to do in order to get new clients. So there's less competition at times of, fear mongering and recession rather than the rent. And keep in mind, people still need services. We still need food. We still need a place to live, right? We still need petrol. We still need diesel. We still need cars. Things are still required. So people don't stop buying. People just stop reacting. And they say, oh, it wouldn't be cheap. People are not cheap. Your expectation of them be cheap makes them cheap. So as long as you see a recession as a way of, creating more opportunities for you to grow your business, that's where it will be.
Okay, great. I like the positive attitude. So let's say that worse things happen and business collapse. And this is often the case, especially with the serial entrepreneurs, that some business are good, some business are not, and they just go bankrupt and similar. How should business people set their minds after failure? What would be your advice? How to continue after failure?
Oh, I love that question. And I always say, I never talk about something that I haven't experienced myself. So I've done through this number of times. I've lost businesses multiple times. So the thing with an entrepreneur mindset is you're willing to take a risk. With risks comes the idea, the possibility that you can win, but you can also lose. That's a possibility that all entrepreneurs need to be accepting. Okay, if you are not willing to lose, you cannot expect to win. Simple as that. right? Now, take any entrepreneur, be it Richard Branson, even Donald Trump, which people I'm not a big fan of, but the guy has done phenomenally well. Any Robert Kiyosaki, pick any entrepreneur that you admire, you respect, and you look back at their resume, you'll realize the number of businesses they've lost would outnumber the number of businesses they succeeded at. Always. That's always the case, okay? So you shouldn't be afraid of failing. You should be afraid of trying. Now, if you say, okay, I'm only going to do this business if it succeeds, then don't bother. Seriously, don't bother, right? You don't know when you're going to hit gold. You may try a number of businesses and they start like a great idea, because you wouldn't start a business unless it's a great idea, right? Why would you start a business unless it's a fantastic idea and you think it's going to do well? You won't start a business thinking it's going to fail. So if you start a business and it fails, the failure has more lessons for you, I promise you, than success does. It always teaches you about personal interactions, about finances, about your own interactions, about your own abilities, about your own shortfalls, etc. There's so many lessons to go for it, right? I remember this story I heard from Bob Proctor years ago, and it stayed with me. If you lived in a home and in your home was this beautiful diamond, which is really rare and really, really beautiful, and somehow your house burned down, so what would be the first thing you do when once ashes have laid down and everything's calm and you're able to go back into the land? You'd go and look for that diamond. And that's the same thing when a business goes down, because when you've lost a business because of whatever reasons, whatever wrong things you've done, you think you've done wrong, as long as you're willing to go back and analyze all the things and all the mistakes, all the things that you could have done differently and the way you could have improved, or sometimes you trust differently. A lot of people lose business because they've trusted wrong people, either management or partnerships. So whatever lessons you can learn from that particular dealing and take it to your next venture, you will succeed. So this idea that I've messed up my business, well, that's the whole idea of entrepreneurship. You are risking failure. If you are not willing to risk failure, you cannot succeed. So if you failed, you call it failure, I call it lesson, right? If one business has gone down, you pick yourself up, learn what you can, and you go for the same one, a better one, or a different one. The choice is yours. But if you're not willing to fail, then you will never succeed.
Okay, that was a nice one. So I know that you're an expert in abundance and you teach people how to become abundant. I also been to one of your seminars and it was amazing with all the people and all the techniques.
Thank you.
I would like to ask you, how important is to set the right goals for abundance?
I think you need to, there's plenty of books and plenty of books on goals as well written. I would say think big and see how you can think bigger, right? So the way to set a goal is something that excites you. That's something that scares you. Again, something I learned from Bob Proctor, may he rest in peace. I did learn quite a lot from him quite early on, and he stayed with me the rest of my life. If your goal doesn't scare you, then it's not a big enough goal. If you know how to get to your goal today, you're not setting yourself a high enough goal. And we were discussing off camera beforehand. One of my goals for one of my companies became too small. Because money became a non-issue for me, I no longer needed money. I was no longer excited for it. And guess what happened? That company dwindled to the point of literally getting very little money. I was saying hardly any money coming through it because I wasn't excited for it. I didn't set enough goal for it. We've turned that around because I want that company to excel. There's a choice I had to make. I could either leave that company, leave that part of me and continue with my other ventures, or take it, ignite more excitement into it, bring it to life and really go into it. Now, the focus on that company is to make it within the next 12 months an 8-figure company. Because I'm more focused on making an 8-figure company, guess what? I'm more excited. The goals are there and it's getting me to do the work for it. I'm looking at different options. I also know how much time I have because I do have other companies I'm running. So I know what strategies I need to have in place to make sure we get to the 8-figure mark without my time being all consumed by this particular company. So the way you set goals is, what do you want? Don't go by what Peter wants. Don't go by what Gull wants. What do you want? Do you want $1 billion company? Do you want a mansion, or do you want a penthouse? Do you want are you happy with a condo? Do you want that picket fence reality? Do you want to be running these multiple companies? Does time matter to you, or does money matter to you? Does name matter to you? What do you want? Allow yourself to dream big. And dream if there was like, you had genie, you know, if you had like Aladdin's genie, what would you want from him or her, right? Let's be, you know, gender neutral. So your genie, you know, what do you want from your genie? What would you like for this genie to give you? Because your mind is that genie. It can give you absolutely anything. And you, Peter, an example. I'm truly an example for that. You know, that if someone goes to see my life story, it literally is rich is rag, and all sorts of things underneath it, right? And so if I can be here, a girl who grew up in poverty, in the slums of East London, literally I grew up in a council estate with my brother going to the juvie. I grew up as a dyslexic student. I didn't know, they don't even found out I was dyslexic until I was 19, first year of university. If I can be here right now and be talking to you about running multiple companies of 8 to 9 figures, anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. I'm here to tell you, there's nothing special about me. The only thing that differentiates between me and someone else is my mindset and my ability to set these outrageous goals and this unfaltering belief in device's energy that I can do it, and faith in myself that I can do it, and God will show me the way and I will find a way to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. So aim high should be one of the motives.
Yeah. So first one is dream big. And secondly, dream big that you want. Don't get a Bugatti because everyone thinks you should have a Bugatti. Get a Bugatti if you want it. Get a private jet if you want it. Think for yourself, what would make you happy? A lot of people will not be happy with a Bugatti or a private jet. They don't want those sort of things. They want something else. Pick what's going to excite you, what's going to make you happy, and go for that, whatever it may be. And for women out there listening to me right now, if having a family is your goal, then focus on that. Set goals to yourself which are going to make you happy. When you turn 40, 50, I'm quite happy to say I'm in my mid-40s now. And the achievements I have financially are great, are fantastic. But I have 2 kids who are doing really, really well. Those are my biggest achievements. So set goals for yourself which are going to make you happy. When you turn 80, 90 and you look back in your life, you're going to be happy with your achievements. That's so important. We lose sight. I mean, I'm a money coach, yet I'm telling people this. Don't lose sight of what's important. Money is amazing. You should go for it. But set goals which are going to make you happy when you look back at your life.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for this wonderful insight. I know you pay a lot of taxes because you make a lot of money. And I know that a lot of business people stress about taxes. They talk about taxes are being too high and all this. And then there's so much negative energy about this taxes. How should we set our minds about taxes? What would you recommend?
Well, first of all, get a great tax lawyer and a great accountant. Very important, okay? Now, somebody asked me this before. Well, if I'm trying to use all the loopholes, am I not, going into scarcity mindset, and am I not doing something wrong? Why? The government has given you options of having these company structures and having these, the cashbacks or relief systems or whatever the hell it's got for you. If it's giving it to you, if you're not going to claim it, somebody else will. So have you in your mind that you're going to respect money. Why would you give an extra dollar or pound to the government unless you have to? Because you don't control where that dollar or pound goes. The government decides whatever it is, and half the time it's on weapons of mass destruction a lot of the times, right? With all the war going on. So I'm not against governments. I think they're great, but I would not give them extra dollar unless I have to. So my recommendation is get a great accountant, get a lawyer, and then and get all the relief that you can from having the company structures and whatever else, and do that. Now, once you've done that, the tax that's due, see it as a way of giving back to the state. Because remember, you living in this country, whichever country you live in, you have the privilege of in that country that you do need to give back to the government. You need to be able to provide for them to do whatever they need to do. The fact that you are living in this particular country, you have that privilege for it. If you don't, you can always go to a tax-free country like Dubai and go and establish yourself there. No one stops you from doing that. But if you're choosing to stay, say for example, in Europe or UK or whatever else, then you are choosing to abide by those rules. There's something wrong with it. Now, if you are paying, for example, £200,000 tax, right? And going by the, make a million, actually 250, because in the UK it's now 25% tax. So if you are going to pay £250,000 tax, that means you made $1 million. many million pounds, right? So don't shrink yourself because you're going to pay more taxes. Think you're going to make more to be able to make those taxes. So you should actually think of yourself, I'm amazing. I make so much money that I'm able to contribute so much to the economy and pay it back into the economy. But I have said this, and I'll say this again. I do admire what Donald Trump says. Use the rules. Don't be foolhardy. Don't be misguided. Pay a great tax lawyer. Pay a great accountant to minimize your taxes. But then be happy when you pay the taxes, because that means you're making the money. You're profitable. That's why you're paying taxes, right?
Yep. So if I understood correctly, taxes should be as low as possible, as optimized as possible, but they just should be considered just another expense for living in a country.
Yeah, it is, but But I want you to take it further than that. Not just expense, because I don't like the word expense. I used to see it as a privilege. So whenever I pay my utility bills, I'm so grateful that I have electricity and gas. I'm so grateful that I have water. I'm so grateful that I live in this house. So when I pay my utility bills or my mortgage or my rent or whatever I'm paying, I feel grateful that I got to use those things in this life. So why should it be an expense? It's a privilege. So I'm always seeing it that way. In the same way, if you take that mindset that you got to have this amazing business which made so much money that you are profitable after all those after getting all the relief and you've minimized taxes and still you're having taxes to pay, you are so amazing at running this fabulous business that you are you're having to pay the taxes. So see it in a positive light. Now, what does I do? I know people aren't paying taxes, but I promise you, when you see things from that perspective, you are focusing on the profit, not on the taxes, not on the expenses. So where focus goes, energy expands, right? So if you focus on the profit, you'll be more profitable. As when you're grateful for the profit rather than sad for the taxes, your business will grow more. And this is going to metaphysics now and into that sort of area. But I promise you, it works. Gratitude really works, and being grateful for your profit and showing that gratitude by happily paying your taxes would show how this expands over the next 5-10 years.
Yeah, great insight. I would like to expand a bit more on gratitude. You're talking about gratitude. Should there be a separation when we're being grateful for our personal life and what happens to us? Is that something different, or is that the same thing than when we are grateful for our business? Is that the same vibration? Is it important to be grateful for our business, or we can just be grateful for everything? What do you think? What's your experience?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so let me start by saying how you do one thing is how you do everything. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. So if you are grateful for your family, if you're grateful for your health, if you're grateful for all the positive things in your life, you will naturally become a grateful person. You will naturally be inclined to be grateful for your business. Even those times which are challenging and difficult for you, you will look for, what's the positive outcome from there? What did I learn from there? How did I grow from there? What did I develop from there? How did that help me and support me to move forward? Off camera, I shared with you, simple as that I was looking to buy, I'm into M&As now, and I was looking to buy a business which I'd been working on for 9 months, and it didn't work. And I was very disheartened and very disappointed because it didn't. But I knew that there was something goodness in it. I knew that God was guiding me to something else. And literally within a month of that not working, within a couple of weeks of that not working, this new opportunity came in a completely different area, which I am absolutely thrilled about. I'm so excited about. And I'm working towards it. And that's going to give me a lot more profit in the long run compared to the first business that I had. And that came because I remember I was disappointed because the 9 months of hard work and going back and forth and discussing, that came to nothing. And, all the money out of my pocket, it came to nothing. But it didn't come to nothing. I showed gratitude to Divine Source Energy. I showed gratitude to universe and said, okay, I know that this was something that I was working for, but I know you have something better planned for me, God. Guess what? This other opportunity came and it's much better. So if you cultivate this habit of being grateful for everything that happens in your life, in your personal life, I think that's an easier place to start than business. If you start being grateful for the people in your life, for the things in your life, for the even just the simple things we take for granted every day. Like, for example, I get up and my cat was in my bed this morning. And she just came to give me, and I looked up and I said, hello, Lily. And she goes, it was just her way of saying hello. And she just gave me the bit cuddle, and she went back to sleep. Things like that. Like the amount of love that comes from these beautiful animals. I was able to take my kids on the spur of the moment. Okay, let's go watch a movie. These are small things for people, because they think, oh, well, you make so much money. Why is that important? Because I had the ability to pick up my kids, take them to the cinema, and watch Guardians of the Galaxy yesterday. We enjoyed that. We got lectures, which is rubbish, but anyway, right? Small things. I'm grateful for it on a daily basis. The fact that I get to go and cuddle my son or my daughter, or help them, or support them, or talk to someone, because I'm grateful on a daily basis on my personal life. When it comes to the harder things in my business, I have a natural habit of being grateful. I'm grateful for my business too. So any advice to anyone would be, develop the habit of being grateful for everything in your life, start with personal life, and slowly and gradually see the goodness in your business and your work life too. It doesn't matter if it's a difficult colleague, a difficult client, a difficult situation. And even as you discussed before, you can have an outcome which doesn't favor you in a business. Sometimes you lose business. You're expecting to make money, you end up losing money. Even those situations can teach you and learn you, or kickstart you, like as you did. You said, okay, that didn't work out. It made me to do extra work, and I did X, Y, and Z. And you're projected to just make a lot more than you would have otherwise. So sometimes, these losses, so-called losses we see on businesses, are just universal or divine energies where I think, go that way. It's a nudge in a different direction. And we need to see it as that. But when we wallow in self-pity and regret, we take it from our business into our personal life, and we unfortunately completely devalue our personal life because we're so mixed up and engrossed in our professional life. I would say start being grateful in your personal life and take that energy into your professional life.
Okay, thank you. I would like to use this opportunity also to ask you about the law of attraction. I know that you are a law of attraction practitioner, even expert as that mean. And one of the paradigms of law of attraction is like attracts like.
Yes.
So how should we set ourselves for abundance? What gratitude is one thing, I'm sure. Is there any other way that we should set ourselves for abundance to attract more of it?
Well, I'm going to give you a quote from Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn's another, Meagher Flom is another one of my early mentors I love and adore completely. He used to say that you don't get what you want, you get what you deserve. Mm-hmm. And that was a point that he made. If you've sown, if you've not sown in this season, how are you going to harvest in the next season? And if you've sown little in this season, how are you going to harvest a lot in the next season? That's how he is. Okay, it's the deserving factor. How do you deserve it? Now, what do we mean by deserving? Deserving is who you are. So in life, we get what we are, not what we want to be, right? So in order for you to attract, let's talk about, we're in businesses, let's talk about the 8-figure, 9-figure business. You want to become a CEO of a 9-figure business, and that's what you want to be working on. You need to become that CEO first before it shows up in your physical environment, that feeling of it. Now, doesn't mean in order for me to get the feeling, I should be flying out in private jets and driving a Bugatti and having Rolexes. No, that's not the point behind it. But you need to start seeing yourself, believing yourself, and have that feeling of the CEO of a 9-figure company. And what does that feeling entail? Okay, so how would a CEO of a 9-figure company interact? What kind of decisions would they make? What kind of priorities would they have? What kind of, that feeling has to come from the inside out. And that is what you need to cultivate. One of the biggest things that I think that's wrong with the law of attraction, or the misguided thing that people have about the law of attraction, is it comes from the movie The Secret. Mm-hmm. You can just think about something and it will fall into your lap. No, thinking is step one. Okay, thinking is, and this is, I think Joe Dispenza says this beautifully. When you think of something, that's your intellectual mind, that's your thoughts, that's when you're sending the signal out. But when you feel it in your heart, when you feel it in your energy field, that's when you draw it to yourself. So a lot of the people are sending the signal out with the thinking, I want this, I want this, I want this, but they fail to feel it. And when they don't feel it, they fail to pull it back in. And that's why they fail to receive that whatever manifestation they're looking for. So if you're going for a 9-figure business, you need to, of course, the affirmations and the visualization all works really well. You have to see yourself as a 9-figure CEO. You need to do XYZ, do your meditations, whatever. But then most importantly, you need to feel that you are there. You need to create, it's always like creating from the inside out. The law of attraction works literally like this, but the feeling has to be fully present. Now, here's the third step, which a lot of people miss. It's always divine source energy's timing, not yours. People get to step 1, which is the thinking. People get to step 2, which is the feeling. But then they think it should happen today. It has happened today, which means it's not happening. Right? For that, I always joke. I have a joke around say this. We have, God or universe has this, your universal warehouse, where when you say I want this, and then you feel it, and they're like, okay, Gull wants the Bugatti. Okay, let's prep it up. And I'm like, oh, I'm driving on Bugatti. So they say, okay, prep it up. Send it off, and they ship it up. The Oompa Loompas put it away, and they're sending it to my home. Now that time from the warehouse to me is not up to you. It's not up to me. It's not up to you. It's up to devices energy. So the time it takes for that Bugatti to get from the universal warehouse to arrive at my doorstep, I have no control over that. Mm-hmm. I just need to remain in faith. And Steve Harvey says this beautifully. He says, when you ask something from God, you are in the house of faith. But when you start doubting, you move down the street into the house of doubt. So it's like Amazon. Amazon brings your order to the house of faith, but comes knocking, but you're no longer there. You're in the house of doubt. And guess what? When you're in the house of doubt, no one answers, and it's sent back to the sender. It goes back to the Amazon warehouse saying, sorry, no one's there. Okay, this is what happens. So essentially, I would say there are 3 steps to this. There's 2 steps that you can do, and the third step is just holding place. Step number 1 is thinking about what you want. That's sending the signal out. Step number 2 is actually feeling, which draws whatever it is to you, and you're drawing it to you. And the third one is just as important. Remain in faith until it happens, until it arrives. Even if you think it's going to take, it's taking years and years and years, God's timing, not your timing. And God's time is always perfect.
Okay, thank you very much for this. How important is to get a coach on that? I know that you're one of the best coaches for that in UK and also probably in the world. How important is for people to get a coach? Because it's like you can go to the gym on your own and you can look at the weights, and the results will probably not be will be better than if you just skip the gym. But how important is to get the coach for abundance, for law of attraction? How important would you rate the coach to be?
I think it depends on what your priority. So if you want something quickly, I think you should get a coach. And if you want something for certain, you should definitely get a coach. Off camera, I was discussing with you with my businesses. I've always had coaches and mentors in my life, but because I'm going into brick and mortar business away from the online space and away from the property, I already have a bit of a coach anyway. Because I'm going in brick and mortar business, I'm now looking for a specific coach who can help me build that coaching, not coaching, the brick and mortar business. And specifically in my mind, I have the kind of coach I need who can help me build the culture of a company and how to build it up and scale it to 9 or 10 figures. So I'm already thinking that far ahead, because I don't want to be learning on the job. I'd rather have the coach teach me. And of course, they're still going to be learning. I'm still going to fall down and falter, but then I have someone to hold my hand and say, Gull, doesn't matter. Let's try this way. Let's try that way. The coach doesn't have all the answers, but can show you the way of how you can move forward. And if someone has experienced or has been through what you want to, then don't you want to cut the learning curve by a lot, at least by a third or probably more, or at least by half the time? So when you go and work with a good coach, now this is very important, you have to be in line with the coach. And thank you for the compliment. I do think I'm one of the best people when it comes to money mindset, but I'm not for everybody. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. So you need to pick a coach which aligns with your energy, which aligns with your belief systems. If someone is an atheist and I go on about God and about universal energy, I'm Muslim, but I don't talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I talk about universal energy. Because as long as you believe in God, I don't care which God you believe in. But if you don't believe in God, I'm not the coach for you, because you're not going to align with my energy. So pick a coach which aligns with your values, and then, you know, and who's already achieved what you want to achieve, and then use them to help you to build your business, build your whatever area of life. And it could be business, it could be personal, it could be relationships, it could be health. But you need to, one, find a coach to cut down the learning curve, and two, to support you when you falter. And keep this in mind. We were discussing this earlier about failure. You're going to fail. You're going to fall again and again and again. So if you're losing weight, you're going to fall. If you're building a business, you're going to fail. If you're in a relationship, you're going to fail. You're going to fail again and again and again. You can see them as failures, or you can see them as lessons. If you have a coach to support you, you will highly likely see them as lessons and move ahead and actually not repeat that mistake again. So this is my advice. If you are looking to do any area of your life, or you're serious about changing any area of your life, get a coach, and get a coach, one, you're aligned with, and two, that you feel confident has already achieved what you want to achieve, and they can help you do the same.
You gave us so many insights and valuable information how to go about how to set attitude, how to use law of attraction. Is there anything else you can share with our listeners? Any quick tips how they can improve their attitude, how they can improve their well-being, their abundance? Or is there any trade secret that you might be able to share with us for this podcast?
Well, I'm assuming everyone who's listening to this podcast is looking to build a business. If you are looking to build a business, you need to work on your mindset. I promise you, business, like anything else, 80% mindset, 20% strategy and execution. I promise you, okay? 20% strategy and execution. So work on your mindset. And that's the first thing. So you should, there's something else that, again, Jim Rohn, may he rest in peace, you say a lot. You need to work more on yourself than you need to work on your business or on things outside of you. The more you work on yourself, the more you will receive and achieve externally. So if you have that in mind, and if you have that focus, I want to, build a business, I want to have a great health, I want to have great relationships. If you focus on your inner self, then your outer reality will follow suit. And secondly, if you are looking to build a business, you really need to develop a healthy relationship with money. I have worked with thousands of people right now. And even if you are earning 6 figures or 7 figures, this relation with money ends up being a love and hate relationship. Stop forming this love and hate relationship with money. And this is why a lot of people do actually go bust again multiple times in their businesses. You need to have a healthy relationship with money. I can really say I'm best friends with money. So every single person here should be aiming to become best friends with money, where you don't need it, you're not running after it, you're not greedy for it, but at the same time, you're not repelling it, you're not pushing it away, you're not hating it, you're not loathing it. So this is important. Build a healthy relationship with money.
Thank you very much. I will include links to Gull where you can reach her, and in the description. I'm sure that she will have some workshops and similar that it would be wise for you to attend if you want to develop your relationship with money. And thank you, Gull, for being our guest tonight.
Thank you so much for having me, Peter. It's been an absolute pleasure.